I always have this chime that kind of comes in when I start my camera, and so it takes me out and brings me back in at the beginning of the video. So, hey, how you doing? What's up? It's your girl, Latoya Q, back with another video. So, I am so grateful to any and everyone that has jumped in and begun to take this journey with me on the EFT tapping path, okay? Emotional freedom techniques. I'm showing you these techniques because let me give you the real of why I'm sharing this with you, okay? So back in 2000, I said 2000, I was a young whippersnapper and I had got my first job. Okay. I was straight out of high school, and my first job was I was doing respite care with young children that were in foster care. And I saw then different parts and pieces of just human nature that I had never seen before because I wasn't raised in a traumatic household to an extent. You know, everyone has their own version of trauma or what they call extreme or whatever it may be. But I had never experienced life like that. And so I saw these young children who had these extreme levels of trauma, right? And in that, I had to do respite care. So I would go around and pick kids up from school or take them out on days because they couldn't work well with others and they had different issues based off of the level of trauma that they had experienced. And as I began to develop as an adult myself, you know, because again, I had just came out of high school, I was probably 18 years old at that time. I started to have my own life experiences, marriage and divorce, death of a child, just having poverty and struggle and not understanding. Like, I knew what my purpose was, I knew where my place was, but I just couldn't figure it out, right? And I began to have all these life experiences that kind of weighed me down and put me in a position of how do I help others and myself? And then I realized I had to help myself first. So then I dove into psychology and I dove into how can I help people without medication? Because at that time I wanted to be a psychiatrist. And so I said, how do I help people without medication? I don't want to give prescriptions. I don't want to give prescriptions and get people hooked on these uppers and downers for them to figure their life out, only for them to be addicted or only for them to have this crutch or this enabling medication for them to feel normal. How can you feel normal without medication? And guess what life did to me? Life gave me more trauma. Life gave me more stress. Life gave me more crap, more issues, more relationships that I didn't need, didn't want, gave me more issues on jobs that I didn't need, didn't want. It gave me experiences that now I can use as a tool to share how to get out of trauma. Not only that, but how to find your authentic self. Not only that, what tools can you use? What techniques can you use instead of medication? Not only that, but I also went down the path of spirituality where I began to understand what God had for me. And part of that is you need to know the mysteries of this planet. You need to know the mysteries. And part of that is knowing the laws. Okay. Now, we're not going to get biblical on this video, but you need to understand law. The law that that I will talk about today is the law of existence. And the law of existence and how it works with your authenticity. Now, the journey that we're on is we finna get to this money. We finna get to this bag. We finna level up our resources. We finna do the things that we were called to do in this world, and we're not gonna worry about what it is that they want us to worry about, such as do I have enough? Because I come from an abundant place, and I understand joy, I understand my worthiness, I understand love, I understand the law of reciprocation, I understand the law of attachment, a law of attraction, I understand the law of detachment. I also the law of correspondence, the law, all the laws. You got to know the law. Because what did Jesus say? He did not come to break the law. He did not come to stop the law. He did not come to change the law, but he came to what? Uphold the law. And the law is the mystery that you need to understand. So with that, you know, we are groomed as children to need validation from our parents. Like, mommy, daddy, did I do a good job? And they say, yes, little Timmy, yes, little Susie, you did such a great job. And if you keep doing this again, I'm gonna give you a reward for that. And you go, oh, good, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm gonna do it again. And then they say, oh, good job, until one day you mess up. And that messing up has absolutely nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with they're stressed out for the day. It's everything to do with they feel as though they had to prove something to someone else. And so it becomes your example. It becomes your influence. And so you begin to learn, or we begin to learn just by nature, that we need to seek validation outside of ourselves to know if we're on the right track or not. Not realizing that to know if you're on the right track or not, you need to follow the law. Because guess what? Just like the land law, ignorance of the law does not excuse you from the law. So you need to know the law in order to know how to level up. But more importantly, you need to know the law so that you can heal yourself. Because then you know alchemy. Then you know how to manipulate yourself to get into a feeling or frequency or frequently seeing place. You're frequently seeing your greatest goods. You're frequently speaking your greatest goods. You're frequently in alignment with your highest self. And so you see from a highest self vantage point. We following? So I had took some notes, and we're going to get back into the money part. But in order for you to get to the bag, in order for you to get to where you really need to be, which is a sweet spot, you need to understand how to work yourself into the sweet spot. And working yourself into the sweet spot, it requires you to be in alignment, okay? So you got to get out of the way of stress, okay? You got to get out of the way of anxiety. You got to get out of the way of physical pain. You got to get out of the way of fear. Because as long as you stay in these low vibrational places, you can't get to the place of enlightenment. You can't get to the place of love. You can't get to a place of excitement and joy. You can't get to those places, which is where you need to be in order to draw in the most lovely, lovely experiences. I remember when I had met my significant other, and I was really just coming out of my injury, like really good. And I was telling him about it, and I would say to him, I know I didn't experience that for nothing, right? I experienced that because I told God, listen, if I can come out, I want the best. I want I said the good shit. I'm not gonna lie to you. I want all the good shit. I want to experience the best that this life can ever provide. I want to experience the best versions of myself. I want to give the best versions of myself. Everything that I do, everything that I touch is golden. It's wonderful. It's magnificent. It's luxurious. It's delightful. All these high flying frequency words. But I still struggled in the undercurrent. I still struggled trying to figure out, am I in the right space? Am I in the right space for the alignment? And it's not anything that you can do. You can't do anything for God. You just be. And so if you're not being the version of yourself that allows God to bless you, or allows others to speak life into you, or allows you to connect, or allows you to be purposeful, or allows you to be your greatest good, there's nothing you can do for anybody else. You can't give good from a place of fear, because you're going to have always this uncertainty about it. You can't give your best from this place of struggle. You can't give your best from this place of just not being confident in what you're doing and who you are. So we got to tap in to a level of confidence within ourselves, which makes us authentic. It's okay to fail. It's okay not to be right every time. Who wants to be right every time? Who doesn't want to learn something every now and then, or at least all the time? I want to learn all the time, to be honest with you. But who doesn't want to grow? That doesn't even sound right. Who doesn't want to grow? But there are so many people that don't grow because they are coming from a place of struggle, and they're coming from a place of this uncertainty, and they're coming from a place of they always need outside validation to know if they're on the right track, instead of saying, this feels really good to me. This makes a lot of sense. The plan that I have in place is really truly in alignment with that. So I know if I step into it, it has to work. Even if I don't get what I actually think, because I'm detached from the outcome. Remember what we talked about? You got to have law of detachment. So even though I'm not attached to the outcome, I know it's going to work for me, because it's going to get me a step closer. It's going to get me a degree shifted. It's going to get me to a place where what I'm looking for and what's looking for me has to, darling, it's going to find me, right? So your greatest influencers, I'm gonna get that. Your greatest influencer is typically your parents and your immediate friend circle, right? But if you're witnessing them not being their best self, it tends to rub off on you to have that lack of confidence, or it has that just that speech that doesn't serve you. So we're going to get away from that. We're going to come out of struggle mode, right? We're going to come out of lack. We're going to come out of this cowardice position. We're going to come out of that. And the way we're going to come out of that is tapping. Now, let me give you a little bit more information, okay? Because I got my notes here, right? Most of the time, we all operate from this place of feeling. What am I feeling today? What am I grateful for? What am I thinking about? What do I feel about what I'm thinking about? What am I going to do with what I'm thinking about? What am I going to be with what I'm thinking about? All of us operate from this place, but good or bad, however you gauge it, it's going to be up to you. Because what may be bad to me may not be bad to you, and what may be good to me may not be good to you. So you will have to gauge where you're at for yourself and begin to assess how far up or how far out you really need to go. Because we're going to take some quantum jumps at this. Okay. So it could be stress, it could be anxiety, it could be physical pain, it could be any type of negative feeling that's keeping you stagnant. And we need to rate the intensity of it from 0 to 10, 10 being the most intense. Okay. And so as we begin to tap, we're looking for what do we feel the intensity about in the negative. I know that sounds crazy to somebody, but emotional freedom techniques, tapping requires you to be honest about your negative feelings, your negative thoughts, so that you can really address them. Just like if you were to go to an AA or NA meeting, you can't ever heal if you don't acknowledge where you're at. So when they first go in, they say, "Hey, my name is so and so, and I'm alcoholic. Hi, ma'am." Let me not make it sound like that, but I tell you what, I have been to an AA meeting and I have been to an NA meeting. And I tell you what, anyone who's there as a participant, not a facilitator, but a participant, does not normally come in there excited and happy unless they are in their path of sobriety. Let's be real. So if you are not on the path of your greatest, highest good, and you're not, and what Esther Hicks would say, you're not on the leading edge, you're in the thick of it. And the thick of it usually doesn't feel that great. So we're going to get to the leading edge so you can attract everything that's for you. So you got that? Okay. So we're going to go through it real quick in case you have not watched any of my videos before, and in case you have not watched how to tap with me or learn how to tap. I'm going to show you really quickly the tapping points. This is your karate chop here. It's two little points right here on your arm. You don't have to necessarily go back and forth, right? You don't have to go up and down. But if you use 4 fingers or if you use 2 fingers or whatever it is, the best is your fingertips. But you do some tapping right there. And this is going to activate your nervous system. These are your hands. These are your working hands. So we're activating our nervous system because we're finna get to work, okay? Then we have our underarm. Our underarm, I've been doing massages today. Y'all don't know, but I'm a little sweaty. But your underarm is part of your lymphatic system. That's why you have waterworks that can come out. But the reason why it's part of the lymphatic system and part of the reason why we're using it for tapping is because that waterwork system is for your heart and your lungs. It's for actually your complete body. So any toxins that need to come out, this is one of the first places that they begin to come out because your lung, as you exhale, releases toxins, as well as when you sweat, you're releasing toxins as well. So when you are still tapping using those fingertips, 2 or 4, however you feel comfortable, you're tapping under your arm, and there you go, right? So we're going to tap in that meaty spot of your underarm because that's what actually your lymphatic, it's all these little tubes and bulbs. It's right there, okay? Same with even when mothers breastfeed, it all actually comes from here. So right here, we're tapping. I just like to keep my arm up like this sometimes. Some people put their arms down. Whatever you're comfortable with, baby. It don't bother me. All right. So our next spot is our collarbone. Now, I tend to stay on the same side. So I'm tapping my collarbone right here. Your collarbone, this is for your cardiovascular system. This is to mimic the palpitations of the, not palpitations, but the beats of your heart. This is to open up that chest. Still, again, with your lungs, it helps to open up those bronchioles. You hear the vibration in my voice. That's to help that open up and to shake any stagnant energy that may be in your chest, on your heart, on your back. This is going to free you up. Um, Even when we have clients, I have clients that come in and let's say they are having any type of respiratory issues, asthma, bronchitis. This is to stimulate. If you are working with anyone who has any type of digestive issues or any type of issues with just their breathing, or they may have a vibrator or a wrap, something that wraps around the chest and it vibrates. This is to get them to open up and help them breathe, which leads us to the next spot. This is the bottom of your chin. Here. Hopefully I got no lipstick all on my chin, but here we go. This is the bottom of your chin. You're tapping the bottom of your chin. This is to activate your speech patterns. This is to activate what proceeds out of your mouth. You're very conscious about what comes out of your mouth, where you're very conscious about the life, not the death, but the life that you speak over yourself. So that you're going to have to watch your words. You are no longer allowed to speak death over yourself. You are worthy and you are tapped in. And so everything that comes out of your mouth has a purpose, right? We're going to go above our lips here and the right under our nose. So this is to shake loose any type of mucus in that cavity system, or in that cavity that's actually in your nasal. It's a big bulb that comes behind your nose. It's a big airway. It's just like a bulb like that. It's open. It goes far back in there because you got your brain here. So there's a bulb that comes back here, and it's a reservoir for good air. And so we are tapping to shake loose any type of stagnancy in our airways. So when we take in that good, pure oxygen, good oxygen, or if it's not pure oxygen, good clean air at least, it allows us to rejuvenate on a subconscious level. Yes, yes, yes. Now we're going to move on to the under eye, right? This is also a lymphatic system. This lymphatic system is in your face. Now, when you begin to see people heal, not just on a physical level, but you begin to see people heal on a spiritual level and on a mental health level, what's the first thing that you tend to notice? Their countenance, their face. They're more regal and more stoic, and they have more confidence, and all that puffiness and all that gunk begins to fall off of their face. And it's not just fluid, it's actually like scales, those scales of worry and the scales of doubt and the scales of brokenness. It begins to come off of them. I know that was the very first thing that I noticed. I even posted it on my Facebook one time. Like when the pain first started to let go, I could tell like that grimace and that, oh man, it went away. And that was the first thing I noticed. My face changed. It looked so much less stressed and aged. So we're waking up our face, and we're also stimulating that lymphatic system in our face so that we begin to detox in our face. Now, you can choose which side you want to start on. You don't have to go on the same side as I, but whatever you feel more confident and comfortable with, okay? We're going to also go on the side of our eye. This is to stimulate our vision and our perception, our optic nerve. Now, our optic nerve also has fluid around it, which is the nerve that goes from our eye socket to, from our eye to our brain. Remember that perception and vision, your true vision, you are not actually seeing out of your eyeballs. These are just your lenses. This is your cornea. This is your pupils. But your actual vision comes from your brain. And so we are releasing any type of tightness, any type of stress and tension that may be trapped in that optic nerve line. We're releasing that because what you see affects what you believe. So if you believe that you are seeing struggle and pain and chaos and worry, your vision tells your brain to go into fight or flight mode. And so then you go into, I got to worry, stress, and be tight about things that you ain't got no control over. So we're going to shake that loose because our vision has to be clear. Our vision and our perception needs to be defined, right? So we're getting that clear. We're going to go right into our eyebrow. Now, I'm using this side over here. This is the side I actually have my injury on. So I tend to use this side anyway because I like to stimulate it. Just like if you were to have like Bell's palsy or something like that, you're going to want to stimulate that side. But for me, this tends to be the side that I go to first, even though I do both sides. Okay. So just saying. So we're going to our eyebrow right in here. So I start almost in the middle. So I have this little mark here. I've had this mark since I was probably like born, but for sure I remember seeing it since I was probably like 3 or 4 years old. So I've always had this mark here. And so I tend to use it as like my little point because it's almost like in the center of my forehead. But anyway, so we're going into the eyebrow. This is our frontal lobe of our brain. This is a processing center. This is where some of our emotions and our thoughts and cognitive thoughts and how we see ourselves and how we see parts of life. I'll bring a head in that I have, and it breaks down every single piece and portion of the scalp and the face. But anyway, this is where our identity is at. And our identity is at our frontal lobe. This is where our emotions lie. And so we're going to break that up so that we can get clear. We can relax our forehead. Our consciousness begins to relax. Our subconscious turns on and it begins to tune in. So our perception of ourself, our perception of our spirit, our perception of what we are activated in is here. Okay? And then last but not least, we have our crown. Now, I kind of go in between the two as far as the pineal. That is the seat of the soul. That is your connection to God, the Most High, the most highest part of your body. This is the most sensitive part of your body. This is also where your sagittal plane, if you look at the skull or if you look at the brain or the mind, rather, look at the body, and you look at how the skull fused together, you have soft spots as a baby and then it all fused together. Well, this is the most tenderest spot for all of us. This is the thinnest part of our skull as well. And so when we tap this, we are actually turning our whole brain on, but we are getting into duality. This is our left side and our right side. This is the stimulant to our top and our bottom, from our crown to our feet. This is what stimulates us. You can stand up and do this. You can sit down and do this. You can lay down and do this. This is up to you. Whatever you feel comfortable with, as long as you're doing it. Okay? Because you'll get better and better and better at it, because it's not just stimulating your body, right? This is about what you say as well, because you are speaking from a conscious place, but you are speaking for the subconscious. So you're speaking voluntarily to turn on what's involuntary. Remember what we said about the butterfly effect? You want to turn the first 15% is the most critical part, because the latter 85% is just what's on autopilot. Okay? You can only do from a place of who you are. You can't do great. You just be great. Right? All right. So we've stimulated ourselves. We've gone through that together, right? So let's get into our statements. Now, I'm going to tell you what you can write down and really start preparing your own scripts for yourself. Because what I say may not necessarily be what you feel, and what I say may not necessarily be what you need. But let me give you what you need so that you can go on and run off with this, okay? Because I can't heal you. You can heal yourself. You don't have to be amongst a crowd of people. You can be quiet to yourself and begin to break up that stagnancy and break up that low vibrational frequencying things that you don't need anymore. All right, so write this down, okay? Even though I have this, the issue or an emotion, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I'm dealing with this, I still accept myself. Okay, so we're going to go into it. It's going to be about 5 to 7 times with each area, each meridian point, and then we'll go into doing a few deep breaths together, and that's the end of the video. Where am I at on time? Let me see where I'm at, because I'm not good at editing. So if you get this far, baby, I tell you what, you finna break some chains off of some generations in your family, honey. Let me tell you. So we're just gonna go through it real quick. I'm not going to go through all of it, but I am going to do some shorts. I'm going to do a few videos for that, and so just keep following along. All right, so even though I have this stress, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I have this stress, even though I've been dealing with a lot lately, I completely and totally accept myself. Even though I have been feeling so overwhelmed by everything I got going on, and I don't know if anybody's going to be able to help me or not, but either way, I accept it and I know I can do well. hmm Even though I have this anxiety, I deeply and I completely accept myself. Even though sometimes I get anxious about the future, not knowing what's about to happen next, I completely and totally accept myself. Even though I have some back pain and I try to get these massages done, I totally and completely accept myself. Now, I'm glad I laughed right there because when I'm in my car and I'm just talking, not necessarily tapping, and I'm doing these statements and I feel the resistance pop up, part of my resistance comes with laughter. And here's why: it's better to laugh than to cry. And so I have back pain for real, okay? But I've learned to manage it and I've learned to function with it. And let me get it back here. Even though I have this back pain, I know that everything I do, I really do it with intention. So I definitely stretch my back out and I try to work it out. Even though I do have back pain, I try to not overwork myself. It's not even try, I don't overwork myself. I still work in moderation so that I can give my best to my clients. So as you can, if you caught on, I kept talking anyway. And with that talking, what I was really feeling is what began to come out. So even though I had back pain, I still got to do my best. I totally accept that level of myself because I love giving my best. So even though I have some back pain and it really bothers me, I deeply and completely accept myself because I know I do my best. It doesn't matter. I do my best. I give my all. Even though I have this fear that I may not make all the money that I need when I need it, I know that I'm in the right place at the right time, all the time, and I accept myself. Even though I have fear sometimes that holds me back, I truly, deeply, and completely accept myself. Even though I worry about what people think, I totally, completely accept myself. Even though I feel overwhelmed by stress, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though stress weighs me down, I still deeply and completely accept myself. Even though anxiety makes me feel uneasy, I deeply and I completely accept myself. Even though my back hurts every day, I completely and totally accept myself. That's why I just show up and do my best. Even though my back really bothers me, I deeply and completely accept myself. See, I keep laughing in that same spot. So that for me tells me my physical pain still is very present in my life. But that's why you tap the emotional freedom technique. Because as you tap, you have to be aware. You're aware of what you're saying. You're aware of what you're feeling. You're aware of what you're giving. And at the end of the day, I totally accept myself. Because I know, I know for real, ain't nobody like me. Can't nobody give a massage like me. Ain't nobody level headed or right minded or able to be me for me. So I totally accept myself, even through all the pain. Even though I have this fear of always being in the forefront, I totally accept myself. Even though I worry and wonder about what people think, hey, it doesn't matter. I totally accept myself. Here we go. Even though I believe I'm not good enough sometimes, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though there are times I think I will not succeed, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I have this belief that I don't deserve happiness, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I've had circumstances where I've been really hurt, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I don't always believe I'm good enough, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I fall short and I don't always get the work done, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I have experiences of where I didn't succeed, I deeply and completely accept myself. Did you follow that? If you need to start that from the beginning, go ahead. But write those statements down. Write those statements down that are true for you. Even though I have this issue, even though I have this feeling, I completely and totally accept myself. Even though I've had this experience, I completely and deeply accept myself. Even though I felt this way, I completely and totally accept myself. You follow what I mean? Now, listen, this is actionable things that you can do. This is a form of meditation for your body. This is a different kind of meditation than that still quiet meditation because this is the activating meditation. This is the type of meditation that you need to get stirred up to create an actionable plan. Because once you start eliminating your fears, once you start eliminating your doubt, once you start eliminating your guilt, once you start eliminating your anger and your madness and your out of control, overwhelming sensations, you can then begin to look at yourself how God sees you. And you can begin to look at yourself how you really need to see yourself. And that's with compassion, That's with grace. That's with trustworthiness. That's with love. That's with understanding. That's with justice. That's with honor. That's with integrity. You can look at yourself for who you really are and what you really need and begin to activate not just the physical, voluntary things that you need to do, but you can activate the mindset and the forethought, the expectation, the willingness, the perception, the vision, the the renewed sense of self that you need to get things done. We're going to get back to the money, but right now we got to talk about the person. You can be a millionaire. You can be extraordinary. You can be a visionary. You can be whatever it is that you've been called to be, but you can't do that living a basic human life of struggle, of confusion, of doubt. You can't do it that way because you won't hold on to it. You won't be accountable to it. You won't be responsible for it. And just as quickly as you can get it, you can lose it. And what we're looking for is the longevity. We're looking for the power. We're looking for the love and the experience of greatness. All right, y'all. This is Latoria Q back with another video, baby. I love saying that. I like coming on here. It used to feel like a chore. Now, we getting somewhere, y'all. We breaking chains. We finna fly high. And I'm calling all my money to me. It need to get to me fast and in a hurry. I got things to do. All right. Bye, baby.